Ever feel like you're just drowning in decisions?
Yeah.
Like you're constantly making choices, but not really getting where you want to go.
Oh, yeah. Like your personal power is just stuck.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we're diving into today. This book, The Declaration of Interdependence.
Oh, interesting.
It's by Terry Sanders and Chad Steele. And it might just have the key to shifting gears,
Mm.
getting that power unstuck.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
It's all about this thing they call the infinity principle. And trust me, it's a total game changer.
The infinity principle. Okay, I'm listening.
So what's fascinating about this book is it's not about like making more decisions. It's about making more powerful declarations.
Oh, that's interesting. So how do they define that?
Well, they lay out this really intriguing equation. Power equals declaration divided by decision.
Okay, I can see where this is going. Less decision fatigue, more clarity of purpose.
Exactly. Instead of getting bogged down by every little choice, think about setting a powerful intention,
Right.
like a declaration, for your day, a project, your whole life, and then letting that be your compass.
Yeah, it's like setting a North Star for yourself.
And you know what? It's not just about personal goals either.
Oh, really?
The authors actually use this big example of the Declaration of Independence
Wow, okay.
to show how a clear, shared declaration,
Yeah.
it can literally change the world.
Like, it had such a profound impact.
It was more than just a document. It was like a commitment to a vision,
Right.
which fueled the entire American Revolution.
It's amazing how a shared purpose can be so powerful.
So clearly, a powerful declaration can really ignite some serious action.
Absolutely.
But what exactly makes a declaration powerful? What are the ingredients?
Yeah, what are we looking for here?
That's where this book gets really practical.
Okay, good.
First, it has to be clear,
Right.
unambiguous, like a laser beam of intention.
Okay.
You're not just like wishing for something, you're stating it as a fact.
Declaring it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it has to be something you truly believe in, heart and soul.
Oh, I like that. It's like that conviction behind it fuels everything.
Yeah, that belief is what fuels the action and helps you stay resilient when things get tough.
It's like the engine.
Totally.
So it's not enough to just say the words. You have to actually feel them.
You have to embody it.
Sure.
And think about this. The difference between making a decision alone versus declaring something with a whole group of people who are equally committed.
Oh, interesting.
That shared belief, that collective intention,
Right.
it multiplies the power exponentially.
It's like this synergistic effect.
Remember that feeling of being on a team
Oh, yeah?
where everyone was like 100% aligned on a goal?
Absolutely. It's like you become unstoppable.
It's like you become unstoppable.
So how do we harness that kind of energy in everyday life?
Well, let's bring this down to earth a bit. The book talks about how these powerful declarations
Yeah.
can even encourage ethical behavior in business and politics.
Okay, now that's fascinating. How does that work?
Think of it like this. When you have a strong, clearly defined set of values
Right.
that are laid out in a declaration, it acts as this guiding principle for all your actions.
Like a framework for decision making.
It becomes a lot harder to make decisions that go against those declared values
Yeah.
because you're constantly being held accountable,
You're holding yourself to a higher standard.
not just by others, by yourself.
That's a powerful motivator.
So it's almost like setting a higher standard for yourself
Yeah.
and for the groups that you're a part of.
Right. Like a shared commitment to a certain way of being.
And here's the key.
Okay.
Powerful declarations need to be backed up by action.
Oh, absolutely. Words without action are meaningless.
The colonists didn't just declare independence, they fought for it.
Right.
It's about aligning your everyday choices with the vision you've laid out.
So it's about walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
It reminds me of something I read about the power of small, consistent actions.
Tell me more about that.
It's like that saying, don't be afraid to take small steps. A baby step is still progress.
I love that. It's so true. Consistent action, even if it seems insignificant on its own, builds momentum.
Yes. It creates a ripple effect.
It's like those little drops of water that eventually carve out a canyon.
Exactly. So we've covered the power of shared declarations,
Mm-hmm.
the importance of clarity and conviction,
Right.
and the need for action. But what does this look like in the real world?
Yeah, how do we apply this infinity principle to actually create a better future?
That's what we'll dive into next. The book lays out some really practical steps,
Yeah.
and I think you'll find them surprisingly empowering.
I can't wait to hear more.
It's not about waiting for someone else to create change.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing the power we each have to declare the future we want to see.
It's about taking ownership. I like that.
Okay, so we've established that declarations, they could be like seriously powerful, but how do we actually put this infinity principle into action?
Yeah.
It feels kind of intimidating. Like,
Yeah.
where do you even start?
Well, that's where the book gets really exciting because it lays out some surprisingly practical steps. And the first step is to articulate compelling shared visions.
Oh,
And we're not just talking about like personal goals here,
right.
but bigger picture stuff.
Okay.
Think climate action, social justice,
Yeah.
or even just creating a more supportive and connected community.
So instead of getting stuck in like me mode, it's about tapping into a larger we.
Exactly. And this is where that declaration equation comes back in.
Okay.
Remember, power equals declaration divided by decision.
I do, yeah.
So when we're talking about collective change, those decisions can feel really overwhelming,
Right.
like a million tiny steps
Right.
with no clear path forward.
Totally.
But a powerful declaration, it kind of cuts through all that noise
Yeah.
and gives you a focal point.
Okay.
It's like saying, this is what we stand for.
Right.
This is what we're working towards.
Okay, that makes sense. But how do we go from a powerful declaration to actually making a difference? Words are great, but action is what really matters.
Absolutely. And that's the second step.
Okay.
Committing to positive intentions with real conviction.
Okay.
No half-hearted efforts allowed.
So you got to be all in.
Exactly. It's about taking that declaration and turning it into a driving force behind your actions.
So it's like that saying, put your money where your mouth is.
Right.
But in this case, it's more like putting your actions where your declaration is.
Exactly. And this is where it gets really cool.
Okay.
The book talks about how working together towards common goals amplifies our individual impact.
Okay.
It's not about doing it all alone. It's about finding strength and momentum in a shared purpose.
It's like that feeling when you're part of a winning team.
Oh, yeah.
That sense of camaraderie and shared accomplishment.
Exactly.
That's the kind of energy we can tap into when we align our actions with a powerful collective declaration. It's almost like the energy multiplies when we're all rowing in the same direction instead of paddling around in circles on our own.
That's a perfect analogy. But, if we're going to row together effectively,
Yeah.
we need the right skills, right?
Of course.
The book talks about cultivating qualities that support collective action.
Uh.
Things like empathy, cooperation,
Yeah.
and a willingness to listen to and learn from others.
So these are like the building blocks for effective teamwork.
Precisely. These aren't just nice to haves.
Right.
They're essential for turning powerful declarations into meaningful, lasting change.
So it's not just about declaring what we want. It's about becoming the kind of people who can actually make it happen.
You got it.
It's about developing the inner qualities that make collective action possible.
And the really cool thing is that these qualities are like muscles.
Okay.
The more we use them, the stronger they become.
I like that.
So every time we choose to act in alignment with our declarations,
Yeah.
every time we choose cooperation over competition,
Right.
every time we choose to listen deeply to someone with a different perspective, we're strengthening our capacity for collective action and building a better future in the process.
Okay, this is starting to feel really empowering. It's like instead of feeling overwhelmed by the state of the world, we can actually choose to focus our energy on creating something better.
Exactly.
But how do we avoid getting bogged down in the day-to-day grind and lose sight of that bigger vision? How do we make sure our actions are actually aligned with those powerful declarations?
That's a great question, and it leads us to one of the most fascinating aspects of the infinity principle.
So how do we stay connected to that bigger picture when, everyday life keeps pulling us in a million different directions?
Right, yeah. It's almost like we need a way to kind of recalibrate our compass, right? Make sure we're still heading in the right direction, the direction our declarations point to. Well, one of the most fascinating insights from the book is that we're actually like surrounded by declarations all the time.
Oh, really?
Even if we don't, realize it.
Okay.
Think about all the messages we see every day.
Right.
The advertising, the news, social media.
Yeah.
They're all trying to shape our beliefs, our behaviors, get us to buy into a certain vision of the world.
So it's like we're constantly being pulled in different directions by all these like competing declarations.
Yes, exactly. No wonder it's so easy to lose sight of our own.
Okay.
So the key is to become more conscious of the declarations that are influencing us.
Right.
And to choose the ones that align with our own values.
So it's not just about creating our own declarations.
Mm.
It's also about being selective about the ones we allow to influence us.
Exactly. And remember, declarations aren't just words, right? They're backed up by action.
Right.
Every time we buy a product, vote for a candidate, support a cause, we're
Yeah.
essentially casting a vote for the declaration behind it.
That's a really powerful way to look at it.
Yeah.
It means our everyday choices, they actually matter more than we realize.
Absolutely.
But with so much noise out there, how do we find the declarations that are truly worth aligning ourselves with?
Well, the book suggests looking for declarations that resonate with our deepest values, the ones that inspire us to act in ways that benefit not just ourselves, but the greater good as well.
Okay, so it's about like looking beyond our own immediate needs and desires and considering the impact our choices have on the world around us.
Precisely. And that's where the infinity principle comes full circle.
Okay.
It's not just about declaring what we want, it's about aligning our actions with those declarations consistently and wholeheartedly.
Mhm.
It's about recognizing that we have the power to shape our reality, both individually and collectively, through the declarations we choose to embrace and the actions we take to bring them to life.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the Declaration of Interdependence, I'm left with this feeling of, you know, possibilities. Like instead of feeling powerless in the face of all the challenges in the world,
Mm.
we can actually choose to focus our energy on creating the future we want to see.
That's the beauty of it, right? It's empowering. And the book leaves us with a really thought-provoking question to ponder.
Okay.
What powerful declaration, big or small, will you commit to today?
Mm.
What actions will you take to bring it to life? Remember, the world is shaped not just by presidents and revolutionaries, but by the everyday choices we make, the intentions we set, and the actions we take.
So, when we consciously align our lives with powerful, positive declarations, we become part of something so much bigger than ourselves.
Absolutely.
A force for good that can create ripples of change throughout the world. So go out there, declare what you believe in, and let your actions be a testament to the power of your intention. Who knows? You might just spark a movement of your own.